Hi there, it's Martin and Nick, and today we're going to talk about 18 Orchid Avenue in Bolton. We don't do so many reviews for properties in Bolton, so I'm quite interested in seeing how the demographics and capital growth works out for this one. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? So I can share my screen. What's that, Martin?
Yeah, how close is to Manchester? That's better. So
yes.
We'll pick after this.
What I'll do is work through the estate agency pictures because that gives us a general context of what's going on, and then we look at the Vubra stuff and then go from there. Obviously, parking for 3 cars, unusual, good. And I can't really comment on the roof yet, but anyway, nice interior. It's been done relatively recently. I can tell this because of the type of coving they have, and also the walls look fairly flat, but again, the Vubra will tell us more. Textured wall surfaces here, nothing major to look at. It's all pretty much okay. The flooring looks good. Again, floor ceiling looks good. Interesting retrofit door, unusual style. Okay, cool. Well, they've got enough space for a back room with some gym equipment. Again, sort of thematically consistent, but this vinyl needs sorting out down here. This you can see here. This is a bit not great. So it just needs repair or replacement. And they have this surface, this suspended ceiling thing. I've seen this quite a lot in a number of properties actually, and I don't know if I like it or not, but at least this is white and it's kind of suspended ceiling with inset lights, which is okay. And big backyard with 2 outhouses, shed in reasonably good condition, and I see they've got the decking. Altogether, this is looking quite nice. Needs a good clean, like all of these tiles should be washed down with the power washer, and that'll really bring it up, make it really pop. And same here, in fact, jet washing or power washing all of this decking and then oiling it would really make it come up nicely. But it's okay, it looks all right. Now, it's difficult to see what's going on with the roof. That's where the Vubra stuff comes in. And good lintels here. As you see, they're stone lintels, which is very good. So there's no undulation here or anything like that. This is all very encouraging. Bathroom looks pretty modern, and it's got these feature lights down here, which I guess gives it some effect, which is quite nice. And they've also gone for the same paneling, or the same idea as they've got in the kitchen, which is this waterproof washable paneling, and it's throughout. I think that's a good thing. It's probably nicer than tiling and definitely better for water resistance. And then we've got some feature wallpaper here and very good fitted wardrobes. These people obviously spent some money on this place. Do you know when it was last sold, Martin?
2007.
2007?
Yep.
Ah, interesting. So they really have spent a lot of money on this. So this interior looks like a lot of it looks more modern than 15 years ago.
The property doesn't have EPC, but I guess doesn't matter.
Now we've also got this suspended ceiling business here as well. Again, I don't know if I like it or not. I don't think it's worth taking out. I think it's okay. It's a question of taste, and if it works and it's neutral, then it stays, I guess. All right, now let's have a look at the satellite pictures for a moment. I just want to see if there's anything interesting here. And the answer is they all seem to have the original roofs, which is quite interesting. So the slate quality must have been decent. Here you've got a new roof, but then you've got this enormous extension. And that's encouraging. So what I've noticed is that if there were inferior quality slates used, then the roofing tends to be very much like a patchwork quilt, but that's not the case. I think they are all okay. Let's have a look and see what we can see here. Yeah, that roof is good, I think. As far as I can see, there are no issues. Something going on there, but that's nothing major. I'm not sure what these are, whether it's moss or what are known as tingles, like holding the slates in place, but it all looks okay. The brickwork is good. This is nice quality brick, so it's not too porous, so therefore water can't get in. It's cavity because of the way the bricks are lined up. Double glazing looks good. It has an air brick down here. It doesn't have any signs of damp-proof coursing, like retrospective damp-proofing, should I say. But I think it looks to me like a 1950s house. Would that be correct?
Yeah, they don't have PPC and I cannot see.
Is there anything for next door?
Yeah, I'm checking that.
It looks like 1950s to me anyway, and
yeah,
nice.
50 and 66.
Yeah, that's
You're
good.
right.
So the damp proofing will have been done properly. Also, it's interesting to see they've got the big front yard, and of course we saw this backyard. And here's the video. Let's play it. And as ever, we'll just pause on points of interest. Busy house, lots of people running around. Okay, not much to see right now. I'm looking for damp in the corners. I'll turn the audio off so that I don't hear the thing rattling away. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. Not houses in the 1950s used plasterboard or early versions of plasterboard, and this all looks like it's good.
Yeah.
As in plasterboard, straight walls, actually quite nicely decorated. And it's quite a novel approach, this ceiling stuff. In the 70s, they used to use a lot of suspended ceilings, and also they would stick polystyrene tiles on the ceilings for heat insulation. But in this case, it's a system I've seen in a few places. I think that's okay. It's neutral. It's thermally efficient. I think it's all quite nice. I also see a nice gas cooker. Let's just go back a second. Yeah, a decent gas cooker there.
Yeah, and a lot of
it's a separate cooker. You know, it's not an integrated cooker, but actually I think that works quite well. And a pantry, that's nicely done. And then we have the
garage, like the extension.
Oh, this is the garage, right? Okay.
I will show you on the. It's like large garage, all like 10-meter long. And then they use the storage.
Yeah, that's.
Which is always extra good, like extra storage. It will not increase the rent, but people will love it.
Yes, exactly. It's just good extra storage space, or it's space for utilities like washing machines. How funny, we've got one of those Worcester boilers with the funny little blue light in it. How amusing. And it's about 6 years old and it's working fine so far. All right, so far so good. And as I say, it's quite nicely decorated. Yep. I don't know about. Sorry, I'm not really sure about this ceiling thing, but that's okay. And loads of storage. It's a great place to accumulate. But it's great. You've got quite a lot of spare space in this property, which is actually very positive.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me just do something here. I just spilt my drink. Duh. Okay.
I will share my screen. And I will start.
Can we start again? Because it's just like, Nick,
but we don't need to publish. But I'm short in time. You're short in time.
Okay.
And
sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
You're probably like, duh, Nick.
I will share my screen. I will talk about
Could you?
the location. So basically, I want to add the property space. Really, it doesn't have EPC, but at least will be D, I think, maybe 7C. So it has huge garage here, but we have small like storage house. Backyard, the backyard is really long. I will tell you the distance approximately around 50 meters. So yeah, and the location, I will show. So the location is like, here is a train station where it go direct to Manchester. If you want to walk to the trains, if you go by car, it's 5 minutes, and if you go by walking, it's around 20 minutes of train stop. And if you want to by transport, it's 40 minutes. Now it's Sunday, so it's normal. I think it's much faster. So basically, yep, you have a lot of green space. You have the main hospital, so finding tenants will be really attractive for the people who work here in the Bolton hospital. So also you have some schools, you have markets as well here. So like shopping, not really shopping center, but something similar to that. And also you have markets all over. You also have really good access to the highway. You're not far away from Bolton, and if you want to go to Manchester, as far as I remember, it's around 35 minutes. But now it's Sunday, so it should be longer. Yeah. If you tomorrow is like 41 minutes. So as I know that I checked, it was 40 minutes. So yeah, the location is like really nice. The property built week, I don't have data, but for similar property.
Shall I get into the rest of the condition stuff now?
Yeah.
Okay.
The year built. It should be around 97 meters squares.
Yeah. It's a good sized property, and here is going up the stairs. They've obviously really cared for this property, like they've decorated it quite nicely, and little details here, if you can see, it's kind of difficult, but the plastering is reasonably good in this. The thing with stuff like that is people don't notice it consciously, but they do subconsciously, and when the plastering's good, it's good. And quite a nice bathroom, actually, very nice, and it's got okay, so this is all very better than I thought. So you've got tiling on one side, nicely done actually, and then you've got the waterproof paneling. Yeah, this is a story where these people have really decided to invest in this property and make it as nice as they can. Like they're house proud, which is a good thing. And it's got a mixer, and the water comes from the combi boiler, which is good.
Yeah.
And here we go. Here, this all looks nice. I'm just fast forwarding just because it saves time.
The wallpapers. It's okay. It's natural color.
Yeah. Now they have all of this here. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but it's practical and it's thermally efficient, and you got the downlighters, and it's everywhere, and it would cost quite a lot of money to remove it. And why would you bother? Basically, so you may as well just leave it there. It'll be within building regs, of course. And here we are here. Arguably, this house doesn't need that much decoration at all if you're prepared to stick with this kind of decor.
Yeah, you can.
And
maybe the black one. Maybe you need to paint it more lighter.
Yeah. You've also got this issue here. So you've got the glass balustrade. Now, technically, that's all within building regs. I would be inclined to fill that all in. But again, it's like, do you bother? The issue is if you've got a child or something slamming into that, they're going to break it. And that's not a good outcome. And a big loft hatch. And then we have these fitted wardrobes. They've obviously spent,
Yeah, and the size of the bedrooms are really nice.
Yeah, I would say they've put in 15 to 20,000 pounds into this property just to beautify it.
And plus the garage, that's also 15.
Yeah, there's that roof again. Roof does look okay. It does have a few tingles in it, so there's something going on here, but that's a minor issue. The roof is fundamentally sound, and that's good. And then let's have a quick look at this one. This is the exterior. Decent enough cars. Yeah, that's nice, the Audi.
Hello.
It's kind of...
Neighborhood where a lot of people...
There's a decent BMW next door. Okay, very good. Let's have a look at the demographics and all of that. Now, what I should say before we get into all of that, how much would it cost to fix it? Well, let's just pause for a second on this. I would say depends how far you want to go with it. In other words, if you just leave well enough alone, like you don't change any of the ceilings, you change a couple of the walls, which are a bit strong looking, let's say, and you leave the carpets alone and you give the exterior a good jet wash and clean up and sort out the teak decking and so on, it's probably in the region of, say, conservatively speaking, £2,000, I would have thought, for good going over. But if you were to really go all in on the property and you were to like strip out those suspended ceilings, all of that stuff, then suddenly everything starts to cost like 12 grand plus because you're doing complete redecoration. So I think with this property, you buy it basically as is and you assume the worst of the least neutral decor gets remedied. Is that what you think, Martin, or otherwise?
I don't think that it's need a lot, especially for renting. It's okay.
Yeah,
you can rent it out. So,
and I think people aren't especially bothered with stuff like that. As long as it's pleasant and it's warm and dry and nice and whatever, then it's okay. What does nice mean? Well, that's a question, isn't it? Okay, let's talk about the demographics. And the first thing to say is that it's mostly English speaking. There's quite a lot of private rented around there, quite a lot of social. It's kind of like middle to lower middle class, and it's got a relatively low proportion of English speaking. But broadly, you would say that this is a reasonably integrated area. And so, the question is, is one confident about capital growth for the future? Yes, no. And this is where we have to look at the capital growth of the past and go from there. Now, one other thing before we get into all the capital growth stuff, there's not that much crime. It's pretty quiet around here. So 6 crimes, i.e. a crime a month, is a general guide, and I would say it's okay. I would also say, reiterate what Martin said, that's a huge hospital. That's full of people who need to rent somewhere. Anyway, let's get into the capital growth story. And what you'll notice is that in areas like BL2, BL3, this patch here, the demographics aren't especially strong. So we've got a large proportion of people who can't speak English, and it's quite a young area, and essentially it's not attractive to. It's what I call a very culturally exclusive area. So in other words,
and also want to add for Bolton, there is university in the center, and a lot of people from abroad come to study in Bolton. So that's also.
Yeah, so Bolton's interesting in that there's a lot of local authority housing in this place, and there's a very culturally exclusive group living in the center. But as you see, the further south, so white is culturally exclusive, and then red is kind of what we want. But if it has a black outline, we kind of don't want that. So you can sort of see how the further south you go, the better, basically. And assuming the price is right, and we'll talk about all of that in a minute, then this makes sense, this property. So, okay, capital growth, finally, just because I'm conscious we have got to get through this. It is interesting because in the last run up, in the last property cycle, here we are here, lots of property cycles, 1845 to date, red arrow, peak of a market. We're in the boom phase, which is the crazy phase. And here's affordability, last cycle peak before that, and now affordability is starting to reduce as we get into this cycle. So for that as context, what happened here, which is weird, is that property prices jumped dramatically from 43,000 up to 106,000. So it grew by 103%, inflation adjusted, which is huge. And then it declined by 19%, which is very unusual, I've got to say. It's very, very unusual. Generally, the market, in most areas, markets retracted by about, they basically lost most of the gains in the boom phase, and this area didn't, basically, which is really strange. So I think what this tells me is there's quite a lot of value around here. And in the boom phase, you would expect this area to grow because people are moving out from the overbought areas. And for that reason, I think it's very interesting from a capital growth point of view. The other point to make, which is also interesting, is how capital growth in real terms isn't anywhere near the 2008 market high. What that tells me is there's plenty of headroom here, and that in a crash it should retract, but maybe not that much. So I think it's very interesting. And if the price is right, then it's very, very interesting. We'll find out in a minute. Martin, over to you.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. I think the rent will be around 850. Yep. So this is our property, what we analyze, and this is the property like similar. This 150, but doesn't have garage and doesn't have good condition. This 230, but it's not comparable. 160, but doesn't have garage and doesn't have the best condition. I mean, better condition than this. So this 190, 180, 160. So you can see that the property are selling similar price. Like this one 200, 180, 210, 140, but doesn't have garage. That's incomparable. I think the asking price 170. I think the asking price is correct. But I think we can go up to 185 maximum. Just because it's if you pay more, maybe the validation of mortgage will not be the same, so you need to pay extra more in cash. So yep, I think this property on 180 will work really well because 850 by 12, 180, 5.7, 5.66 yield, which you don't need a lot of renovation. Just maybe some painting, but that's not more than 3K, I think. So that's my but this property will rent easy just because it's really close to hospital, not far away from the train stop, which go to Manchester or Bolton. Or you have a lot of schools as well around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 schools, 6 or 7 schools.
I think
large.
the thing about this area
You have a
is
new build here. If you doesn't have new build, that means the array is not developing, so that this array is developing in the new builds. And the social houses are those here next to the park, and this is some of these terrace houses. So, and it have some of this like here in the circle. It have like some big social houses, but it's not huge proportion. The crime is low, so you have a lot of small shops here on the main street. You have also markets, so the location and everything's work with this property. I expect that maybe we are not fan of Bolton, but anyway, this property will work on the rent, easy rent, nice capital growth, not need a lot of work. So
okay. Do you
because
hear
I
me
want,
all right? Do you hear
yeah,
me, Martin?
yeah, I just want to add that it's how close are you to Manchester? That's better in this area, like all this little Fulton and all BL postals, like. But this is really nice. I can see on the street that it's nice. It have really huge extra space here in the garage. And also, if the people doesn't want to live here, they will not do extra extension. For example, this property have a lot of properties have extension. So that show you, look how huge extension this property has. So that show you that the people want to live here and they care about the property. You can see how huge they have. So I think and it's also not old. So that means it will be EPC efficient. It doesn't have. It needs to be made by the landlord. So, but I think it will be D at least because the boiler looks okay, the walls looks okay, roof looks okay. So yeah.
It's a mixed area, isn't it? And yeah, it's probably the area where people from central Bolton migrate to when they make some money, if that makes sense. Yeah.
A lot of people who work to Bolton, they will like to live here because they're closer to Manchester. They will not want to live in this part. They are a little bit more far away, for example. But they have train here directly who go to Bolton or Manchester. So it's okay. It have a lot of like a small. It doesn't have any risk of flood risk. So
should we score it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it has a river around. So it has a lot of green space around. So
okay. Well, here we go.
Yeah, condition. Just like a condition, just nice for. Basically, doesn't need anything.
Yeah.
I think
so. Well, it depends on your taste. It depends if you think the colors aren't right and all that stuff. So that's a questionable thing. Location.
Just because it's Bolton, it's not for high score, but everything else is nice. If you think like the location is like very nice. I think it's more it's 4 because everything you have close nearby. If it was, for example, like this house in Stockholm, it would be better because now we're talking about the location and capital growth demographics. So
yeah, so the area. So I would say the area is 3.7 as well. I think location is actually quite good for amenities and all of that. It's good. The area not so good. The crime is low. The demographics,
not the best.
Not the best. Capital growth, it's a bit of a weird one. It's not a capital growth hotspot. But at this cycle or part of the property cycle, I think it's all kind of on the shift. And I give it a 4 on capital growth. I think it's going to do really well on growth over the next 3 or 4 years. And if it behaves like it did in the last crash, it won't retract too much. And I think a lot of that is because that market's held up by wealthier people from central Bolton, that community migrating out to the suburbs and bidding the price up. Anyway, sell time. Well, it'll sell quickly. Rent time, it'll rent quickly. Yield.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yield.
It's like 5. It's not for semi-detached house in Manchester, but this it was in Manchester, yes, but this is more like it's still Manchester, but the postal is BL, so I think it's 3.8 to 7.
Yeah,
not the best yield.
I agree with you. Yeah, so there we go, 3.87. basically works. It's a bit below average. I think it's just slightly let down by the demographics and demographics. Yeah, but overall, I think it's a very nice.
But I think, but I think runtime will be fly because the location things will run really fast.
Yeah, so really the question with a property like this is, what about the long-term outlook? And the answer is, it all depends whether it becomes a bit too culturally exclusive and therefore you risk capital decline. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think it's a very mixed area, and areas tend to shift very, very slowly anyway. And the question is it going to grow wealthier or is it going to grow poorer? I'm kind of erring towards wealthier because it's on the right side of the city to Manchester. And there are certain natural demarcation lines with this, which tell me that it should repeat what it did in the last property cycle. In other words, go up a lot, attract new demographics. There's also new build in the area, which is a very important sign.
Yeah, and also it have a new builds near the railway. But I didn't show, but it have a lot of new builds there. So the rail is improving because everywhere around Manchester is improving, and this is close. It have good transport. It have a lot of amenities around. It was a large hospital, so I think it's really good for investing. Not the best, but it's really nice.
Well, there we are. All right. Well, let us know what you want to do. Yeah. And thank you very much.
Thank you.